welcome to this tutorial to accompany week 4 of my Down by the Sea blanket. I'm Eleonora from Coastal Crochet, and all the details about this blanket can be found over on my website www.coastalcrochet.com. So this is the beginning of week 4, and we have some rounds plus we have some rows, and the rows here you see going only along one edge of the blanket. We're now going to start extending the length to make it a rectangular blanket. Here's 4 rounds here that we begin week 4 with, and then here we've got rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, the first 6 rows of one of the sides of the blanket, and it creates this lovely zigzag effect. As always, these videos are not there to replace the written pattern, so do have a copy of the pattern with you as you work through these rows, and I hope you find the tutorial helpful. So week 4 begins with 4 simple rounds going round the entire blanket. That's rounds 45 and 46 in yarn F. You can see those in the pale pink colour here. And then rounds 47 and 48 that you can see here in the pale blue colour. So do look at the written pattern for these simple rounds. And so now we're going to be moving on and just working rows back and forth along just one side of the large square, one side of the blanket. We're going to be going back and forth. So if you look at the pattern, we want the right side of the blanket facing us, ready to crochet along one of the sides, and join yarn C into the outer right stitch. So if you look at the corner, in round 48 we did a treble US double crochet, a chain, and then another treble US double crochet. And if you have a look, obviously we did that with the wrong side facing, so the tops of the stitches, if you're right-handed, sit just to the right of the post. Now we've got the right side facing us, the top of that stitch sits just to the left if you're right-handed. So there's the post of the stitch, there is the top of the stitch. Insert your hook into there and join with yarn C. Make 3 chain, which counts as the first treble US double crochet here and throughout these rows. And now row 1 of this first side is simply a row of treble US double crochet stitches. So simply work 1 treble, that's US double crochet, in each stitch until you get to the end. And here I am at the end, and this here is the last stitch. We're not going to go into that corner chain space, and there should be 129 stitches going all the way across one of the sides of the square. And now we make 2 chain, turn the work, because now we're going to be going back along. This counts as a stitch, so we're now going to do half treble US half double crochet stitches, 1 in each stitch along. The 2 chain counts as a stitch, so we don't go into this first one, it's the next one along, and then 1 half treble US half double crochet in each stitch. Just coming to the end of row 2, done our row of half treble US half double crochet stitches. I just want to remind you that obviously now we're working in rows. The turning chains, the beginning chains of the rows, do count as a stitch unless otherwise indicated. In the next row, row 3, it won't, but the pattern does say that. But at the start of row 1, that beginning 3 chain counted as our first treble US double crochet stitch. So we just need to remember to go into those turning chains at the end of each of the rows. So just work a stitch into the top chain of those 3, insert your hook and finish the stitch in there. But now we are now joining with yarn F at the final stage of this last stitch. Pull yarn F through like so, ready to move on to row 3. So looking at the pattern, row 3 begins with 1 chain, and on this occasion it does not count as a stitch, and so the very first stitch to crochet into on this row will be the very first stitch you see here. And so looking at the pattern, it's now 1 double crochet, that's a US single crochet in each of the first 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And so now miss the next stitch, so we're not going to crochet into that stitch, but instead work 1 front post triple treble, that in the US is a front post double treble, around the 10th treble in from the right 2 rows below in row 1. Now that sounds really wordy, and when you see it written down, it can feel a bit overwhelming, but don't worry, let's break it down. So we've done our double crochet, US single crochet stitches. We're going to miss this stitch, we're not crocheting into there. Let's get our hook and yarn ready, because we're going to be doing a triple treble, which in the US is a double treble, and that's where we're going to wrap the yarn around the hook 1, 2, 3 times. So wrap your yarn around the hook 3 times. That's now ready. And now we're going to do a front post stitch around the 10th treble in from the right 2 rows below in row 1. If you remember, this is row 1, the first row we did along the side, and it's the 10th treble US double crochet stitch in from the right. So there's the beginning 3 chain that counted as our first stitch. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There is the 10th stitch. I'll just put my thumb next to it. So that's the 10th stitch. I've wrapped the yarn around the hook 3 times, and it's a front post stitch, so we're literally going to insert our hook from the front to the back, round to the front again, around the post of that stitch, the 10th stitch in from the right, and then yarn over, pull it through round to the front. Should have 5 loops on the hook. Then it's yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And so it's a nice long stitch extending all the way like so. And so looking at the pattern now, it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. Remembering we're missing that one, the one where it said miss the next stitch. Make sure we don't crochet into that one. That's this one here. And then in the next 5, it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 5. And so now looking at the pattern, we missed the next stitch, so we're not going to crochet into this one here, but instead we're going to do a front post triple treble. That's your front post double treble in the US, around the same stitch, just worked around. So obviously we've located that stitch now, so this makes it a bit easier. So wrap your yarn around the hook 3 times, go back to that same stitch, insert your hook from front to back, round to the front again, yarn over, pull it round and to the front, have 5 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And now what you can see we've created is a nice V going across the work down to that stitch. And so now it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, remembering that we're missing that one. We missed that one to work this triple treble instead. So in the next 4 stitches, we do a double crochet, US single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, and that's 4. And so now we miss the next stitch, so we're not going to crochet into that one, but instead we're going to do a front post triple treble. In the US, that's your front post double treble, around the 11th stitch along from the previous treble worked around, 2 rows below. So we've gone around this stitch here, and now it's the 11th stitch along from there. So there's the one we've gone around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is the stitch here. I'm going to put my thumb next to it. The 11th stitch in, along from the previous stitch worked around. We're going to do a triple treble, front post triple treble, wrap your yarn over the hook 3 times. We're going to do a front post stitch, triple treble around that stitch. So insert your hook from front to back, round to the front again, yarn over, pull through, got your 5 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And so now looking at the pattern, it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches, remembering we're missing that one. And so in each of the next 5, work your double crochet, US single crochet stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's 5. Miss the next stitch, so we're not going to be crocheting into this stitch here. Instead, work in the front post triple treble. That's your front post double treble in the US around the same stitch just worked around. So wrap your yarn around the hook 3 times and then insert your hook from front to back, round to the front again around that same stitch we worked around. Yarn over, pull through to the front. You've got your 5 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now what you can see we've created is 2 little V shapes going down. Don't worry about the tops of these stitches when you're doing very tall stitches like triple treble, US double treble stitches. The tops of the stitches can look very gappy, very holy. Don't worry, we are going to be working around these stitches to neaten that on the following rows. So don't worry too much about that at the moment. And so now if you look at the pattern, it says repeat from star 9 times more. And if you go back to where the star is in the pattern, it was here. It was after we'd done our first 2 raised stitches, and then it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. Then it's your front post triple treble around the 11th stitch along from the previous one. Then it's your 5 double crochet, US single crochet, and then your front post triple treble around the same stitch. And so repeat exactly what we've done from this point here 9 times more across the row. And there we go, we've repeated from star 9 times. So going all the way across, we have these lovely little V's, and there should be 11 in total of these raised stitches. And then just looking at the pattern, we've just got 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So remember, we're missing that one, and then in each of the next 6 stitches, work your double crochet, US single crochet stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and remember the beginning 2 chain of row 2 counted as a stitch, so it's important for us to go into the top of that 2 chain for our last stitch, and then at this point, the last yarn over hook of that final stitch, we're now joining with yarn E. So pull yarn E through at the final stage of that final stitch of the row. And there we go, that's the end of row 3. So we're going to turn the work now, ready to work back along. And so row 4 starts with 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and that counts as the first treble US double crochet stitch of this row. And so the first stitch we crochet into, because this 3 chain accounts for that stitch there, it's going to be the next one along. And this row, row 4, is a simple row of treble, that's your US double crochet stitches. So 1 in each stitch along, and that includes when we get to the raised stitches. Obviously those raised stitches are much taller, and therefore the tops of those stitches are quite gappy. I'll show you, I'm about to get to the first one. So the first one is here. There we go, you can see the top of that stitch is much gappier, but just work into it as normal. Like I said previously, we are going to tidy up in subsequent rows, so don't worry about what that looks like, just work into the stitch as normal and go all the way to the end with 1 treble US double crochet in each stitch. And at the end of row 4, just make sure you join with yarn F. That's the same colour that we did the raised stitches with in row 3. So join with yarn F at the final stage of that final stitch, like so. And then we'll turn, ready to have the right side facing for row 5. And so we begin row 5 with 1 chain. This doesn't count as a stitch, so the very first stitch to crochet into is that very first one, and looking at the pattern, it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, and there's 4. And so now we miss the next stitch, so we don't crochet into this one here, but instead we work a front post triple treble, that's your front post double treble in the US, around the first raised triple treble stitch 2 rows below in row 3. So again, it's quite wordy, but this is row 3 where we used yarn F and did our first set of raised stitches. Around that first raised stitch, work your front post triple treble. So wrap your yarn around the hook 3 times and then insert your hook around the post of that triple treble stitch, the first one below, and then yarn over, pull it round to the front. You've got your 5 loops on the hook, and then finish that triple treble stitch. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And so what we've done is we've extended the length of that post, so that raised stitch now, by doing this raised stitch around this raised stitch, we're creating an elongated textured beautiful raise there going all the way up. And so now looking at the pattern, it's 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 10 stitches, remembering that we're missing that first one. We did this raised stitch instead, so miss that first one, and then into the next one, work your double crochet, US single crochet, and it's 10 of those. So 2, 3, 9, and here is 10. So there we go, that's what it's looking like now. I've done the first raised stitch and now I've done 10 double crochet, US single crochet. So now it's missed the next stitch, so we're not going to be crocheting into this next stitch here. And then it's front post triple treble 2 together around the next 2 raised triple treble stitches 2 rows below. So this one here and this one here, these are the next 2 raised stitches, and we're going to be crocheting them together. So I'll talk you through it. So wrap the yarn around the hook 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Insert your hook around the first raised stitch, the triple treble below, going around the post of that stitch like so. Yarn over and pull through to the front. Got your 5 loops on the hook. Now it's yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and stop at the final yarn over, pull through 2. So when there are 2 loops on the hook, stop there. And now we're going to go around the next raised stitch. So wrap your yarn around the hook 3 times and then insert your hook around the second raised stitch, from around the post of that stitch, from front to back, round to the front of that stitch, and then yarn over, pull through to the front. You're going to have 6 loops on the hook now because obviously we didn't finish off that first stitch. And then it's yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and stop at the final yarn over hook, pull through 2. Because actually now, because we didn't finish the first stitch and we're not finishing the second stitch, we have 3 loops on the hook. And to bring these 2 stitches together, it's now yarn over and pull through those 3 loops like so. And so that is bringing those 2 stitches together. That's the front post triple treble, US double treble, 2 stitches together. We've brought those 2 stitches together into one. Now don't worry about the tops of the stitch. It looks pretty sort of gappy, but we are going to be crocheting around that in the next row, so don't worry about what that looks like at this stage. But what you can see is we're getting this lovely zigzag effect. So looking at the pattern, we repeat from star 9 times more. And star was when we were here. It's the 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 10 stitches, and then we do our 2 together. So I'll show you one more time. Obviously we're missing that stitch. We did our treble, our raised stitches 2 together instead. So miss that first stitch. Into the next stitch we work now our 10 double crochet, US single crochet. So that's 2, 9 and 10. So I've worked the 10 double crochet, US single crochet stitches. And so now we're at the next 2 raised stitches, and so just like before, we're going to miss the next stitch. We're not crocheting into this one, but we're going to bring these 2 together with a front post triple treble 2 stitches together. So wrap your yarn around the hook 3 times, insert your hook around the post of that first raised stitch below in row 3, yarn over, pull it through and round to the front, and then it's yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 until there are 2 loops on the hook, and stop there. Wrap your yarn around the hook 3 times, go around the next raised stitch around the post of that stitch, yarn over, pull it round, then it's yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 until there are 3 loops on the hook. And when there are 3 loops on the hook, it's yarn over and pull through all those 3 loops, and we've brought those 2 stitches together like so. You can really see the zigzag effect happening now. And so we've repeated from star once, so we've done all of this to these raised stitches, we've repeated it again, done all of this to these raised stitches, and so repeat exactly what we've done from star 9 times more. So obviously this is 1, so we've got 8 more repeats to do. So when you've repeated from star 9 times, you'll have this lovely zigzag effect going all the way across, and we've just got the last raised stitch to deal with and our final stitches. So if you look at the pattern, we've repeated from star 9 times more. We now do 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 9 stitches. Remembering we're missing that first one each time, so now it's 9 double crochet, US single crochet, 2, 3, 8 and 9. And so then it's the final raised stitch we need to deal with. And if you look at the pattern, we miss the next stitch, and then it's 1 front post triple treble, US double treble, wrapping the yarn around the hook 3 times around the final raised stitch below in row 3. Insert your hook and then complete that raised stitch as we have done previously, finishing the stitch like so. And we've obviously missed this stitch, and there should be, looking at the pattern, 4 stitches left to crochet into, so finish with 1 double crochet, US single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and remember that the final one is that beginning 3 chain at the beginning of row 4. So insert your hook under both strands of the chain, the top chain of those beginning 3, and make that final stitch. But at this point here, stop and we join with yarn D. Like so, and turn the work, ready for row 6. And so in row 6 we have the wrong side facing us, but we are going to be tidying the tops of these raised stitches. So we begin by making 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3, and that counts as the first stitch. And so the next stitch to crochet into is the next one along. So it's 1 treble US double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, 1, 2 and then 3, And so now we're at the first raised stitch, and each time you get to the raised stitches in this row, the raised stitches from the previous row, what we're going to be doing is missing it. So we're not going to crochet into the tops of these stitches, but instead we're going to work one double treble, that is a US treble stitch, into the missed stitch below in row 4. So row 4 is the green row here. We've missed a stitch along that row when doing our raised stitches. So insert your hook into there, but what's important is that we encase the top of the raised stitch. So there's the gappiness of that stitch, and that's what we want to encase. So make sure your hook is positioned ready to encase that stitch. Your double treble, you wrap the yarn around the hook twice. So insert your hook into that stitch, making sure you're encasing the top of that raised stitch, and work your double treble, US treble as normal. Yarn over, pull through. You'll have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And when you look at the front, you can see it's just really neatened the top of that stitch, and you'll really notice that when we get to the top of the raised stitches we did together. So looking at the pattern now, it's 1 treble, US double crochet in each of the next 9 stitches. 1, 8, and that's 9. And then here we are at the next raised stitch. So miss that stitch, but instead we work the 1 double treble, US treble, wrapping your yarn around the hook twice into the missed stitch. But it's just really important to make sure that your hook is going right under that the raised stitches together, so that we encase it. It would be easy to miss it, or go to the left, or go into the middle. But what we want to do is go right under, like so, so that when we complete the double treble, US treble stitch as normal, we're going to be encasing the top of those raised stitches. So when I look at the front, there you see we've really neatened the top of those stitches. And so carry on all the way to the end. We're simply doing 1 treble, US double crochet. It'll be 10 stitches now between these raised ones. So in each of those stitches do your treble, and then when you get to the raised stitch, we work our double treble, US treble, into that missed stitch, making sure we encase the top of those raised stitches, and carry on to the end. So I'm just coming to the end of row 6, gone all the way along with treble, US double crochet stitches, and then each time I get to those raised stitches, we're working the double treble, US treble, wrapping the yarn over twice, inserting it into the missed stitch below the raised stitch, and just making sure that you're encasing that raised stitch entirely, and work that double treble, US treble stitch as normal. And when we've gone around that final raised stitch, there should be 4 stitches left. So work 1 treble, US double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And at the end of the final stitch, that is where we join now with yarn C, ready to move on to row 7. But this tutorial ends here. I will turn the work and let you see what it looks like, and then there's a separate tutorial for rows 7 through to 14. So here you can see now what the front of the work looks like by going around the tops of those raised stitches. We've just encased them like so, which really neatens them. And if you have a look, we've got this really lovely zigzag effect going all the way along the row. So that's the video tutorial for rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. For rows 7 onwards, in week 4 there is a second video tutorial which is in my YouTube channel, and the links are on my website too. But that's it for these lovely zigzag rows, and I hope you found the tutorial helpful. Thanks for watching.